Hey guys, MSG Retired here, something new. I am going to start doing a series called MSG's Views, and I'm going to talk about some of the military stuff that's going on. And I think the biggest thing right now that's going on deals with a Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel by the name of Stuart Scheller Jr. And it has to do with a video he posted on Facebook. I did see the video, and when I first saw the video, I was like, oh my God. A field grade officer in the military posting something like this, and I was aghast. The military has set standards, and if you have a problem with something, you have a chain of command, an open door policy. You take it up the chain of command. You don't go on a social media platform and start calling people out, especially the senior leadership. I mean at the very highest levels. And he's not setting a good precedence for anybody and everybody that is coming up through the military. Well, if this lieutenant colonel can go on social media and call out the highest level of command, well, I should be able to do that as well. I should be able to, my sergeant was shitty to me and made me paint rocks. No. His point was clear. I understand that, and I agree with that. The fact that the entire Afghanistan withdrawal was a complete debacle, and I just spent 4 hours and 37 minutes watching Secretary Austin, Chairman Milley, and General McKenzie testify before the House, and it was very interesting listening to all of it and how some of them took a lot of it out of context. As far as the representatives that were asking the questions. But the things that really were set clear was troop levels during the evacuation and things of that nature. So anyway, Lieutenant Colonel Scheller posted that video. He was told to knock it off. They told him that's it, no more. He disobeyed that lawful order, went right back, made a couple more videos. So now he's up for a special court-martial, and according to some sites, he could face decades in Leavenworth. And no, it's a misdemeanor trial, Article 32 hearing. And let me just tell you what he's being charged with. Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 88, by displaying contempt toward officials. Article 89, by disrespecting superior commissioned officers. Article 90, by willfully disobeying a superior commissioned officer. Article 92, by dereliction in the performance of his duties and failure to obey an order or regulation. And then Article 133, by displaying conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. There's no doubt there. A field grade officer should not be going on social media such as Facebook, YouTube, or anything else and airing a grievance over higher command, especially a command that is so far above his level as a battalion commander at a training battalion. He doesn't have any clue as to what information those generals were asked to advise on and what went on. The force reduction, that was dictated by the State Department and the President. The President is the one. They wanted to keep 2,500 troops on the ground. They got reduced down to 650, and they were supposed to go to 0, ordered by State Department and the President. However, once they did that reduction, things were off the hook. And luckily, General McKenzie and General Milley, as well as Secretary Austin, there were contingency plans for rapid deployment forces. There was an element from the 82nd Airborne that was sent in, as well as Marines to get control of the situation, and I believe that manning level was like 5,000 troops. It took that many to maintain control over this. Unfortunately, during that time frame, we lost 13 service members, 11 Marines, 1 Navy corpsman, and 1 Army soldier. And it's horrible that that happened. However, in Afghanistan or in Iraq where I was, suicide bombers, you know, you don't know where they're going to come from. And it happens. It's a horrible thing. I think allowing the Taliban to maintain the outer perimeter, and basically they actually dictated who was able to get into the airport. They were keeping people from getting in. It was a complete mess. So just a couple of points that I'm going to take out of the some of the testimony that the testimony that was given by these 3 fine gentlemen. The surprise of the collapse of the Afghani government. And one of the questions somebody asked, and this goes back even to my days over in Iraq when we were training Iraqi police. We were outside the wire every day, training up the Iraqi police and trying to teach them our way of doing policing, which it's kind of like herding cats. That's not the way they do things in their culture. And we're trying to train them to do like community policing, but it was totally foreign to them, and they just didn't really grasp it. And I'm sure it was the same in Afghanistan. But, you know, a unit is given a mission to go over and say train Afghani National Police. And they have all this paperwork that they have to fill out. Yep, they meet this standard. Yep, they meet that standard. Yep, they meet this standard. That paperwork, all of a sudden, it becomes cooking the books. Okay? You're out there, you're training, they're not getting it. Or even if they are getting it, they're, you know, go along to get along kind of thing. So they'll make it look like they're doing something. The minute you go back inside the wire, they're sitting out there doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. You know, he mentioned, well, why are the E5s on the ground in Afghanistan saying, yep, the government's going to collapse because they don't have a will to win, and the top echelons have no clue. All they see is that paperwork. Oh, they said they were all good to go and they could do everything that they needed to do, and just a shit show. So I highly recommend you watch that 4 hours and 37 minutes of testimony. It's very enlightening. You got both sides of the political parties in there asking questions, and some of it didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with other things, but some good information. And I've got nothing but respect for the Secretary, General Milley. Wow, that dude's a hardcore dude. 42 years in the military, Ranger School, Special Forces. I mean, just, he's a badass. Same with Mackenzie. These guys were hard chargers coming up through the ranks. They got to those positions, and even Mackenzie said during it, he says, I don't know what the disconnect is on me getting the truth from the lower ranks. And that's because as it goes up the ranks, these guys don't want to look bad. They want to make sure it gets done. And that's what happens. The books get cooked. Everybody thinks, hey, peaches and cream, here we go. These guys are going to do great. And where the boot leather meets the pavement, it turns into a huge shit show. All right, now, so I got a little interested in Lieutenant Colonel Scheller's bio, which has been taken off. Let me just straighten out my notes here a little bit. It was on the Marine Corps training site. His bio was up there, and now when you try and go to it, it says NA, not applicable, because he's not applicable anymore because he was relieved of duty. He was relieved of duty right after that first video, told to shut the hell up, and he couldn't. Posted more video, and now look where he's at. 17 years, it's going to be down the drain. It's going to be a special court-martial, misdemeanor court-martial on those charges. He's probably going to be reduced in rank and probably either a general or a bad conduct discharge. For what? For what? When he had the means to voice his opinion through his chain of command and open door policies. At some point, he might have even got to speak directly to General McKenzie. I don't know. I'm not familiar with how the Marine Corps is. I know in the Army, you can go up through your chain of command and you can keep going as needed. There are other ways to file complaints, grievances, but I don't think Lieutenant Colonel Scheller had enough information to think he could charge General McKenzie with dereliction of duty. That's ludicrous. So I started looking into his background. So let's see. And now this is just a reprint of his bio from the Marine Corps site, and it was done over in the UK, so it doesn't read real easy, and I'm not going to read it. But it says he was at the University of Cincinnati, got a degree in bookkeeping. He went to OCS, Officer Candidate School, January 2005. Upon completion, he went to the basic officers course and the infantry officers course, and then went to, it looks like, 1st Battalion, 8th Marines in December '05. I'm trying to make sense out of this because the way they did it, it doesn't make sense. He was involved in the non-combatant evacuation of Americans out of Beirut in 2016 during the Israeli-Lebanese struggle. The next year he was allotted, or he was transferred to, or became Alpha Company Executive Officer and sent to Ramadi, Iraq. As the executive officer, he was also in charge of, and due to a reforming of the company, he was placed in charge of fire support. So fire support, those are usually your mortar guys or whatever. They're usually on the fob. They got mortar tubes set up to, or artillery set up to, support the movement elements that are out in the area. 2008, he went into the School of Infantry East in the Infantry Training Battalion. He was a weapons instructor, OIC, and then 18 months as the Echo Company Commander. So he's back in the schoolhouse as a company commander, not a maneuver company, training company. 2010, he requested an individual deployment as an augmentee. He was assigned to the 101st Infantry, worked with their EOD, and was the infantry matter expert for the EOD guys for route clearance. And in from July 2011 to June 2012, he went to the Expeditionary Warfare School. It looks like a multi-week class, and it's kind of hard to really know what they're talking about on some of this stuff. September 2012, 3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines, Company Commander, Headquarters and Service Company. Yet again, not a maneuver company. He's in charge of support stuff. No deployments during that time. He participated in infantry training exercises and a unit deployment east. Didn't expound on that. I remember seeing that in his official bio that was on the school thing. August 2015. He was operations officer, company commander, and warfighting director, and this was at the basic school. July 2018, Command and Staff College, and acquired his master's in military science. July 2019, Marine Special Forces Command. He was an XO of the 2nd Support Battalion, and I guess the battalion commander was gone for a while, so they had to add that in there, that he basically he was the leader of that battalion during, or stateside, rear detachment kind of thing. I don't know what they call it in the Marine Corps. June 2020, 6th Marine, operations officer. Finished a service level training exercise, and then in June of 2021, he received his 1st battalion command again at a training, as a training battalion at the schoolhouse. So he never really commanded any maneuver companies or a maneuver battalion. Maybe sour grapes, maybe that's why he's trying to get his 15 minutes of fame. I don't know. A perfectly honorable career, but the way he talks in his videos, I get the impression that it's kind of sour grapes, that he's never been like an infantry company commander out in the field, you know, doing their thing in Afghanistan or even back in Iraq. And then getting his battalion command at a training battalion instead of an actual infantry battalion. I don't know. All I know is the guy, he pretty much ruined his Marine Corps military career. This is probably going to be very controversial to a lot of people, because a lot of people came out and said what a hero he was, what a great guy he was, for putting out this on social media. And now that I've watched that 4 hours and 37 minutes of testimony, yeah. The decisions that were made, or I should say, those generals advise the administration as to what they think is best. Whether or not that administration does that or doesn't do it, it's on them. The ultimate decision on the troop reductions and the way that all went falls on the president's shoulders. Period. Doesn't fall on General McKenzie. It doesn't fall on General Miller. It doesn't fall on anyone, or Milley. It doesn't fall on anyone but. So, yeah. This is, I know I'm going to have all kinds of different comments on this. As a career military guy with 30 plus years, you know, I don't think he did it the right way. That message needed to be sent up the ladder. The message, I think, was on point. Should have been done totally different. Never should have been put on social media. Hell, back in 2006, I had to get a friggin' Facebook account to keep track of my soldiers to make sure they weren't posting stuff on there that would violate OPSEC, operational security. So, there you go. But it's not a place for grievances. It's not a place for complaints, especially about senior command. That needs to go up the chain. Not setting a good precedence for soldiers, especially in a training battalion. You got all these new kids coming into the military. Hey, our battalion commander's calling out General McKenzie on Facebook. Really? Really? Shouldn't be doing it. Anyway, that's the video for today. Probably going to get a lot of controversial stuff on this one. I don't care. There's a lot of other military guys out there making videos like this. Some of them are not well informed, like Decades in Leavenworth, not on those charges. My guess, reduction in rank and maybe a bad conduct or a general discharge. I hate to see this guy throw his career away like that. I wish he had just shut up after the first video. The message was out there. The message was received by command. And if he had just shut up, shuffled away, done his last 2.5 years or whatever he had left, retired, and then he could have just blasted him. I understand the loss of 13 service members, 11 Marines, 1 Navy corpsman, 1 Army soldier. That may have had a driving force in this, but we've lost an awful lot of soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it happens. And as volatile a situation as the Afghanistan withdrawal was, I'm not surprised there weren't more suicide bomber attacks or anything of that nature. So anyway, if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Click the button. Click the bell to get notifications of any new media that I may upload or any live streams coming up, anything along those natures. And make sure you give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of both. This is a very controversial thing, but I just wanted to put my view on it and get it out there. And this is something I'm going to do as hot topics come up dealing with the military. If you're out there on twos, keep the shiny side up, rubber side down, and as always, have a great day.